Hey guys, Fallout Lover here, back with another Fallout video for you, and today we are going to be figuring out what the best heavy weapons in Fallout 76 are. So in the last video we did pistols, and in this one we're going to do heavy guns. So this video is going to have the exact same rules as the pistol video. Whatever weapons I ran the fastest around West Tech with will be the better weapons. In this video we have 6 heavy guns lined up with a bonus 7th that I have thrown in just as a bonus, and I was pretty impressed with it, so I'm sure you guys will be too when it comes time for the bonus one. So just like in the last video, I will be showing you my perks, and another look at my mutations, which are the exact same ones I used in the previous video. So coming in at the number 6 spot, we have the Harpoon Gun. This thing was not really my favorite to use, but it actually did better than I expected. It took me 9 minutes and 49 seconds to clear out a round of West Tech with. It was okay in terms of damage. It definitely had the highest damage per shot, but even some of the rifles and even the black powder pistol did more damage, and they don't have as much armor penetration. A little side note, I am in power armor for this and using the perk stabilized. So of course this will have natural armor penetration because of that perk, but the pistol just did better somehow anyways. So the Harpoon Gun is a gun I'd skip unless you absolutely love it. I found no reason to use it, and I never cared for this gun, but if you want to use it, it can do some okay damage, but compared to the other heavy weapons, it is most definitely the worst one on this list. Coming in at the number 5 spot, we have the Gatling Gun. This one took me 5 minutes and 30 seconds. It was way faster than the Harpoon Gun, and it was a lot more fun to use. If you want 5mm, it does the most damage for that type of ammo, but it did not beat the Minigun, so if you want damage per second, or just overall faster speed, this gun did not win. But it was, well, very accurate, as a lot of the heavy guns are. A lot of the heavy guns really accurate. So I didn't have a problem with accuracy with this one. I did kind of notice that the sight was somewhat blocked by the clip. I don't know why. But other than that little tiny detail, I mean, it's most certainly a really good gun and one I can recommend. Coming in at the number 4 spot, we have the Gauss Minigun. Just like the Gauss pistol, this thing is always legendary when you roll it, so I had to try my best to get not great legendary effects, but this one overall took me 4 minutes and 46 seconds. It is a very good gun, but it just slightly made it out of the top 3. But it is pretty close up there, so all of the heavy weapons, as you will notice, besides the Harpoon Gun, are really good, so props to the heavy weapons for being good. Coming into the number 3 spot, we have the Minigun. This took 4 minutes and 28 seconds. It was a very fast gun, of course, and also, it performed really well. It had the lowest damage, but since, it's a minigun, it fires really fast. So what it definitely lacks in terms of damage, it more than makes up for it in speed. So overall, this is a gun I can recommend. If you can feed it the 5mm, of course. Coming in at the number 2 spot, we have the 50 cal machine gun. This one took me 4 minutes and 20 seconds. It was very good, very accurate, overall steady fire rate. So I'd say this is definitely a really well-rounded gun, and for a lot of people, they'll probably say this is one of the best, and they're correct. It's a very good gun. Really not much more to say about this gun other than it has basically no recoil and it shoots really good. The only downside is 50 cal is probably towards the heavier side of the ammo spectrum, but it's not the biggest deal. But if you could feed this thing to 50, it is very, very good. Coming in at the number 1 spot, we have the LMG, or the light machine gun. This thing took 4 minutes and 17 seconds. It is a very fast weapon, it is the lightest of the heavy weapons, and overall has a very fast fire rate. So this weapon's a bit unique, so while it was my number 1, it didn't do the most damage, but it did really good damage and with also good fire rate. So where this gun shines is not only is it the lightest, it is also a very good weapon for headshots. This weapon is also somewhat usable in VATS, so it gives it a little bit of an edge up over the other ones, which are not very good VATS weapons. So overall, this gun did really good, and it's not very surprising. This is, well, in my opinion, my favorite weapon in Fallout 76. I just like the way it sounds, I like the way it feels, and it's got a good fire rate. So while this is my personal favorite, it is most certainly not the best gun in the game, so don't get that confused. But, as you will see, of course, comparing it to some of the guns from the previous list and the ones from this list, it is most certainly up there, so don't shy away from this weapon. But, just like the previous video, I have not done energy weapons, as those will have to come in another part. So this gun does not know what's going to hit it when those come out. So now for the bonus weapon, the Shredder Minigun. So this is a bonus weapon because it does not benefit from the heavy weapon perks, but it does benefit from the Basher perk, big time, and the Stabilized. So I figured I'd throw it in as a bonus, so while it is technically not a, I guess, standard heavy weapon, it is based off of the Minigun, and since the Minigun is a heavy weapon, I figured it'd be fair to throw it in here, instead of a list I'm going to be doing later with a bunch of other guns like this that are a bit weird. So this thing is very good. It took me 4 minutes and 14 seconds, very fast, and overall, if you're doing melee, this is probably the only gun you'd ever want to touch because it can rival some of the melee weapons. And if you are doing the daily ops where you have to kill enemies with melee attacks only, this does count for that. So this gun not only has a unique bonus, but it's also just really good at that bonus. So this is most definitely something I can recommend. Even if it's not the best weapon in the game, I can definitely recommend you try it, because if you've not tried this, I must definitely recommend you do, because it is very fun to use. As the base chainsaw that we get in the game is, well, it's pretty bad and sad, and overall not fun. But this thing is not bad, not sad, and overall it is pretty fun. So if you've not tried this, I definitely recommend it. So to give a quick recap of today's video, the number 3 spot goes to the Minigun, the number 2 spot goes to the 50 cal machine gun, and the number 1 spot goes to the LMG. And if you want to count it, technically the number 1 spot would go to the Shredder Minigun. But I just consider that more of a bonus, as it's not really a full heavy weapon, but it was most definitely one that I could not leave off this list. Another tiny little side note that might be somewhat of a factor when it comes to making more videos on this topic. When you're in power armor, weapons don't have a weight, so whatever weapon you're using is going to be basically as light as a pistol. So that would technically give heavier weapons a bit of an edge over the smaller weapons. But if you're going to be using heavy weapons, you're probably going to be using power armor anyways, So these videos are going to be more smaller videos leading up to the overall bigger main video, and for now we're just focusing on really the builds themselves, not the actual weapons, but you can compare them just to get an idea of what the damage between them is like. Overall, all of the heavy weapons in this game are pretty good, so this video is most definitely on the shorter side, but I hope you guys still enjoyed it anyways, and with that, I'd like to bid all of you guys farewell.